Cheers, Jimmy. Welcome. Here we go. We got a big webinar today. Hundreds and hundreds of people registered. I wore my water cooler shirt for the water cooler fans. We're not doing it weekly, but we are doing it monthly. You know, we're getting together every month to take a deep dive on a topic. And we take our time. We go through this at an advanced, specific, tactical, practical level. And today we're going to cover the 21 best Facebook ads for real estate right now. So the 21 best ads that you can run to grow your real estate business in 2021. There are endless options of what you could do. We're going to talk about what you should do. We've got all of the ads put into a page on our website, so you guys can go back to them and reference them. You can follow along with us. We'll give you the URL here in a second. We're going to talk about what we liked about the ad and how you can copy that ad, not plagiarize, just to be clear, Jimmy. It's not plagiarism, but the angles and the ideas and the inspiration that the ads that I've been researching have in them. It is a no-brainer for agents and teams and brokerages to be using these ideas. So set the stage for everybody. We got 90 minutes here. This is a deep dive. Talk about the backstory to the content today.
Yeah, well, you've put a tremendous amount of work into doing the research, Chris, and I can't wait for us to share this with our audience and our fans today, because I think what I took away from some of the research you've done is how much of an opportunity still exists to get this right and to really win big. If you look at Facebook and you look at the history of Facebook advertising, it's really remarkable what we've seen over the last 10 years. Facebook started maybe in 2008, 2009, really advertising started taking off of small businesses. In 2011, the average ad spend annually was about $3.4 billion. Today, it's over 80 billion. And so you've seen this explosion of advertising dollars moving from traditional media into social, and specifically Facebook, which is, of the top two advertising platforms. You've seen this explosion, but what you're also seeing is you're seeing this growth, Chris. At the exact same time, you're seeing the landscape change dramatically. You and I did a webinar not too long ago where we talked about some of the fair housing changes, where Facebook began to restrict the demographic data you could use, as well as the location data. Now, I think a lot of agents reacted negatively towards that. They said, oh, Facebook no longer works. I'm going to move on to something else. What they didn't realize with this macro trend, Chris, of a focus on privacy and a focus on targeting is applying to all platforms now.
Sure.
Right? We're seeing it happen with Google. Google just announced they're no longer using third-party cookies. Facebook just experienced a new iOS 14 update. So this changes the strategy brands need to deploy to still get great results from Facebook. So I think a big opportunity today as you start to dive into your lesson is recognizing how important creative is, how important copy is, how important the angle, the images, the videos are. Like, we're moving towards a world where it's almost like going back to the 1950s, like the Mad Men era of like great advertising is going to win, not great targeting or great algorithmic, settings. It's going to be like great advertising is going to win. I know you've got a ton of research you poured into this. So I thought it'd be a good opportunity today, before I pass it back to you here, Chris, what is the goal for today? You mentioned already, we want to give you examples and we want to inspire you with ideas that allow you to get better results for your business using Facebook advertising. That's our goal. You want to walk away from this 90-minute session saying, I not only understand how to use Facebook, but now I have a blueprint to really put my money to work for me. So Chris, why don't we start by giving people a little bit of behind the scenes look at what you've done in your research process, because you use a tool to do your research. And I think this tool is something everybody can take advantage of today.
Yeah, it really is a game changer. And just another little bonus idea here is that a lot of the ads we're going to cover are running on Instagram as well, obviously with Instagram and Facebook being so intertwined. So whether you're looking to do Facebook or Instagram ads, I think people will really love the ideas. But yeah, what I did is I looked at the billion-dollar companies in the industry, the companies that have dozens of people on their marketing teams, endless advertising budgets, creatives, designers, graphic artists, paid media specialists. Usually they have a PR firm, they have an ad agency. The truth is that these massive billion-dollar companies have more time and resources to put in to creating amazing ads.
Yeah.
So you want to learn from them. Like they did the R&D for you, right? They did the research and development. They deployed it. They've got it running right now. So it's obviously performing. So it takes a lot of the guesswork away. But yeah, let me pull this tool up. I'm going to share my screen here for everybody. And all you have to do to find this page that I'm on is you just search Facebook ad library. This is fairly new. What I'm about to show everybody is super new, but you can come in here and this is really convenient. They actually have a drop down for housing ads specifically. Okay. What's really interesting though now is I can come in and type in Orlando, Florida, which is where I'm at today. I could put in Boston where you are. Anybody watching can put in their market. And what it actually will show me is it'll show me every Facebook ad that is a real estate ad. This is also every Instagram ad from every agent in Orlando specifically. Because for real estate agents to run ads, they have to put them in the housing category. Facebook obviously knows everybody's location. So there's a gold mine that you can learn in here. What did I learn very quickly looking at the city level? Most people suck at advertising compared to the brands that we're going to profile today. But if you're looking for ideas, here they are. And this is actually a really cool trick. There's a little button that says filter by, and it says advertiser. If I drop that down, Jimmy, this is literally every Facebook page in Orlando running ads right now. So you can go right into your biggest competitor's page. You can say, what is Amy Long doing? Right? Let's look at Amy's ad. She got one running here. You know, what is 407 Homes for Sale doing? You know, you see a couple of the ads that they're running. So you can look at it at the advertiser level, the city level. You can look at all Facebook versus Instagram. So just show me Instagram only, right? There's a lot of filters that you can run. What I did, and this is something else everybody can do, is I ended up, and I told you this before the call, Jimmy, I actually ended up looking at about 100 to 120 ads, and I chose 4, you know, per company, because even great companies run bad ads. That's just the truth. So I can come in and I can put in, you know, Compass, I can put in Zillow, I can put in Redfin, right? These are the types of companies. And now I see all of their ads. And again, there's a ton of ads running and a lot that you can learn from them. So yeah, I think it's smart that we start with that tool because it's something everybody should spend time in. The idea behind the webinar today is I've spent dozens of hours in there looking at thousands of ads, and I'm about to show you the best 21 by far. So we're going to cover Redfin's best ads, Realtor.com's best ads, Compass's best ads, Zillow's best ads. And then we're also going to cover the best ads our real estate agents and teams that we work with at Curaytor are running right now as well.
Yeah, I love that. And that tool is Facebook Ad Library. If you just Google it, you can be brought to it. And Chris, you hit on a really important point there. They just made this update in the last week where you now can filter by location, which I think is a huge, huge upgrade for anyone who's trying to do some of that research you just mentioned. So showing by city or by area to allow you to understand what your competition is doing. And you should see it, to your point, Chris. You should look at the results and say, man, there's such an opportunity for me to level up here and stand out in a big way. So why don't we start, Chris, with Redfin? I know Redfin is a company that I think has always been on the cutting edge of advertising and marketing. They built an iconic brand in real estate. You could say what you want about the business, the brand, their agents, but they have built a beloved brand in real estate, and I think there's a lot we can learn from them. Yeah,
consumers love them. They're addicted to using it. In some cases, they much prefer it actually over Zillow. It's a little different geographically, but Redfin, Compass, all of these companies are publicly traded, which just means they have a war chest of ideas that they can deploy compared to regular people. As you know, Jimmy, you're a creator, you're putting out content all the time. Isn't it fair to say that you kind of have to put 5 or 10 things out to hit that big one, right? You know, you may have to put out 5 pieces of content to have one kind of go viral or do better. And so we just have the luxury that we know they're doing that. The first ad that I wanted to cover is something that is so timely and relevant. And Jimmy, this is a theme throughout all of my research. The companies that we're going to profile today, their marketing is being dictated by the market. What happens in the market matters, whether that's people looking for bigger homes, or whether that's people that are frustrated they can't find the right home, or whether that's people that are putting offers in on a home and not getting accepted, low inventory. We know what the market is doing.
Yep.
So your ads should convey that. So the first ad, I thought this was brilliant. Find homes first, tour homes fast, own it with Redfin. And what they're promoting here, you're going to get, this was a video, you're going to receive listings 3 hours before other apps. Like in a competitive market where listings are scarce and buyers are jumping all over them, a 3-hour head start feels very appealing. Okay.
Yeah.
So to me, this is just like they're tapping into the consumer frustration. Find it first, tour it fast, buy it, right? Like that's what people want to happen, but it's not happening. And they're frustrated with that. The other thing I love what they did is look at that call to action, book a home tour today. So when you actually put this type of copy and spin, these are bottom of the funnel buyers, right? These are buyers that want to find a home first, want to tour a home fast, want to book a home tour today. So they're also going to generate people that are further along in the process, which of course should be everybody's goal with a lot of their ads.
Yeah. Yeah. What you're describing there is this idea of qualifying through copy, which is by specifically using language that would tell you someone's intent, you can get a higher quality lead than if you were simply to say like search for homes now. No, I love this. Do me a favor real quick. If you could pull up Redfin's website,
sure.
Redfin.com. I just want to point out one thing, an advertising principle for everyone here to embrace is if you go to Redfin's homepage, the very first thing you see is that exact same copy. Find homes first, tour homes fast. That type of coupling between the advertising campaigns you're running and the copy on your website is a critical strategy when it comes to running effective advertising campaigns.
Yeah. And to turn the corner, I want everybody to try this. Like you have got to try this. You need to set up an MLS alert and you need to set up the same filters on Zillow, Redfin, Realtor.com, et cetera. Because the way that listing syndication works and the way that the MLS has the single source of truth that then goes everywhere else, even though you might just be the local realtor compared to Zillow or Redfin, if your MLS alerts are going out significantly quicker than Zillow, you need to advertise that. You need to market that. That's like a very, very clear reason to have you set me up on an MLS alert, just relying on push notifications from Zillow. So I would challenge everybody to run that test for themselves. Sign up at the same time for the same 3 alerts on the same 3 websites, plus your MLS. And if your MLS is winning, that needs to be your next campaign.
Yeah. Love that. Love that. Cool. All right. What do you got next?
Yeah, the next one is very simple. Like everybody promotes their home search and they typically just promote like the price or the area or the amenities of the properties that you can check out. What Redfin did here that was really smart is they basically said, what are the features on a listing details page that people love? So we know, like as an example, includes complete home details, full screen photos, property history, and agent notes. So what I would do is I would go to my own listing details page and what is on that page besides the listing. Obviously, people want photos and 3D tours, but if there's school information, if there's market trends, if there's neighborhood analysis, if there's walk scores, whatever the sort of inside of the listing details page data, sold history, right? Mortgage calculator. There's typically a lot more to an IDX page than just the home, the listing, the price, the bed, and the bath. So get people excited about clicking through for those reasons. And really, this is just meaning to be different. You know, you see the same calls to action all the time. This gives you a different angle to use with your IDX.
I love it. And I think it's the call to action for everyone who's watching here is what does your website offer that they can't find on Zillow or Redfin? If the answer is nothing, then why would someone visit it?
Yeah.
So
And by the way, check out local blogs about the restaurants and businesses near where you want to live, right? Yeah. See owners, see interviews with homeowners that have sold their home from the area you're looking in. Yeah. Like a lot of that is also sort of, it may not be right in the listing details page, but if it's a piece of your overall website, definitely talk it up.
Cool. Now, I know one of the things that we've been hearing a lot about in real estate, it's probably been one of the most talked about topics, is how do you attract top talent? How do you build a real estate team of producers, people who are willing to hustle, who are willing to, make the phone calls, do the marketing, service the customers? I actually see so few agents run recruiting ads. I know you came across one that you wanted to feature today.
Yeah. I mean, whether you're an agent looking to grow their team, a team that's looking to grow, a broker looking, like, you should always be trying to find the next successful person under you, right? Buyers, agents, whatever that may be. So I thought Redfin, they basically said, what is the most appealing part of working here? And with HGTV and Marriage or Mortgage and like all these different like real estate phenomenons in pop culture, getting paid to tour homes is a very appealing idea. Like the first sentence of the copy, show homes. The first line item on the graphic, get paid to tour homes. The call to action sentence, get paid to tour homes. That's what sticks in your brain. Like you can get paid to show properties to people. That is a lot of people's dream job. That's probably half the reason a lot of people on this call got into the industry. So the idea of showing homes, attending inspections, setting your own hours, state-of-the-art technology, growing your real estate skills. Jimmy, doesn't every team you would join offer those same things? Like, and again, it's Redfin, but that's what you offer. You empower your team member with great technology. You let them make their own schedule. You teach them how to be better at real estate. You pay them to tour homes through commission. I just thought this was a really good ad. I love how they're showing the guy showing the home. Like I want that job. I would rather do that than Uber. Being an Uber driver, I would rather do that than Uber Eats. I would rather do that than Shipt and go down to Publix and deliver people's groceries. Like the next solid member of your team might just be like a young hustler that's ready to grind and work hard. It may not be some seasoned agent. So I just think this is a good ad for recruiting.
No, I love it. If you could just stop for 1 second here. I dropped a link in the Zoom chat that you could pull up here just to give some people some context. If you want to build a scalable real estate business, you need to always be recruiting, even if you're not hiring. This is one of the switches that you need to flip in your brain. And I'm pulling up an example of one of our Curaytor clients, Thrive Realty. And so I think every person needs to build out a careers page. This is built on the Curaytor platform. Our client, the Woodbecks, Justin and Jessica, who do amazing work with us, they're highlighting all the benefits, all the value props, all the available positions they have, their culture, their perks, right? The results their agents get, their accolades. They build a beautiful landing page. So going back to your ad, Chris, like you need to run an ad like this and drive them to a page on your website that looks like this, that sells the fact that this company is fundamentally different. So I'm a huge fan of recruiting ads. Always be recruiting, even if you're not hiring. Start to build up that bench that you need to grow your business.
Yeah. And then the last tip here with Redfin, I'm cheating a little bit, but the other trend that's clear is migration. So as people are allowed to work from home, especially depending on the city that you're in, people from here are moving here. People from here are moving here. You'd be surprised at sometimes how high of a percentage it is of people buying in city X that are not coming from city X. So one of the things that you can do with your listings is you can basically like put them into ad campaigns in the exact places where the most people are searching for homes in your city, beyond obviously targeting your own market. So this is called the Redfin migration tool. And what this will show me is like in Seattle, as an example, right? The people searching Redfin in Seattle, 16% of them are looking outside of Seattle. Okay. 10% of those people are looking in Phoenix.
Mm-hmm.
9.5 are looking in LA, 6.8 are looking in Portland. So if I'm trying to get my listing in front of the people that are, migrating into my city, that gives me my pretty good data on like where to target my ads. The other thing I would do is talk to a seller and say, listen, we need to make sure that your property's in front of everybody that might buy it. And what we've researched here and what we've found is that, 1 out of every 4 buyers in our market are not even searching in our market. They're from somewhere else. We figured out where they are, and we can get your home in front of them as well. So really cool tool. You can check out all the markets, check out your market. What's the destination? What's the origin city? Really neat stuff from Redfin.
Yeah, I love it. The Redfin migration tool. So let me just recap before we move on to what's next here. We have a quick pro tip for you for another tool you can check out. So you're saying for number 1, clear value proposition, making sure that you're establishing what is the main pain point that people are experiencing today and matching your ad copy to ensure you're hitting on that point. So finding homes faster, touring them quickly, touring them first. Talking about something that's unique about your website. It could be the IDX, it could be some other part of your website that only you have. That's kind of like the one and only technique there, Chris. Number 3 is a smarter recruiting. Always be recruiting. Highlight what makes you great. Highlight the value that you add so you can be bringing better agents in your pipeline. And finally, tap into the natural migration trends happening in the US where people are moving all across the country, different areas. Tap into that with your ad strategy. So Chris, before we move on to the next company that you wanted to feature, Realtor.com, I thought we'd be able to have a chance to talk through adpages.xyz. So this is a tool that you can have access to. It's completely free. But one of the things that we love to do at Curaytor is we love to look outside of the industry to find inspiration. And what we love about this tool, adpages.xyz, is you can see e-commerce brands. You can see, companies that sell software, companies that sell, in this case, like hardware, project management tools. You can see the advertising campaigns they're running, plus the landing pages they're driving their traffic to. So this is a tool for those of you who are looking to say, I've looked at the Facebook ad library. I saw what my competition is doing. Now I want to go out and see what the rest of the industries are doing that are not in real estate and find some inspiration there. So I'm a huge fan of adpages.xyz. I would check it out. It's a free tool. We use it for inspiration here at Curaytor, and I think it can help you create better advertising campaigns.
Yeah, I just dropped the link to that in the chat. I also dropped the link to the Redfin migration tool. People were asking for that as well. But I absolutely love the side-by-side. And it goes back to what you said. It's got to match. It's got to look the same. You can't have a hamburger in your ad and a hot dog on your landing page. But this is an endless stream of inspiration. Let's get into Realtor.com. Realtor.com, Jimmy, what I was actually pleasantly surprised with a couple of the companies that I've profiled recently where, maybe they've been around longer, Zillow, sort of the cool new thing, or Compass is a little newer and just went public, or, Redfin's like a Silicon Valley type of a company. Well, Realtor.com was doing a great job with their ads as well. And the first one that I found that I think is going to be a trend that sticks for the foreseeable future is they were doing a lot of advertising for new construction. And if you think about it, how do you find a home when there's not one that you like? You build it, right? Now, a lot of people don't end up buying a home that's a new construction home. It's not right for them. They don't have the time to build it, but there's a lot of them that are already built that are ready. And it's just something that we normally don't think about. But with an inventory crisis, why wouldn't you lean into the fact that like new construction might be the best path to finding your perfect home? Instead of finding your perfect home, maybe you should be open-minded to building your perfect home. So they did an article about the pros, the cons, the costs. They really did a good job of breaking down an in-depth look around the cost of building your own home. There are economists, like there was a thing today with Spencer that Austin was attending. And the number one way to solve the inventory shortage is going to be building. Like, I know that sounds crazy, but they halted building for so long. That's part of the reason we're in the spot that we're in.
Well, if I could just say one thing real quickly on the topic of the first ad, I think it's worth pointing out. There's another trend that you may have missed when you're looking at these ad campaigns. For those of you who are watching this live or the recording, is notice how few words they actually use in their ad copy.
Yep.
I think this is one of the most common trends we're seeing is if you look at these billion-dollar brands who are constantly testing and have data scientists and analysts on their team to analyze best performing campaigns and A/B test them and all that, notice that they're very thoughtful about how many words they choose. We know that if people have too much content, too much to sort of digest initially, they're going to sort of skim past it and move on. So I think they do a great job here, Chris, with two things. Number one, being as brief as possible, which is great. But number two, I actually love the fact they're doing an educational play here. They're not advertising for scheduling a tour. They're going a little bit more up funnel, but it's a really smart strategy by Realtor.com. Yeah,
because anybody that goes down this path is going to need to learn more. They're going to need to educate themselves. Very few people have gone that route. So yeah, I think they did a good job. And the photo is obviously perfect, right? It's a house being built. Don't overthink it. The next one is something that we've tried in the past. We've seen great success with. Jimmy, this is a pure traffic generation, right? Like if you want as many clicks and as much traffic as possible, because you have to remember, a lot of these companies think of themselves as a media company.
Yeah.
And so they don't just want leads, they want traffic. When you get traffic, now all of a sudden you can pixel or cookie the person and you can retarget the person, right? Your website becomes more popular. You can show people more ads in the feed down the line. So this is just a clear trend. Like people love to see celebrities' homes. John Travolta is selling his massive oceanfront Maine mansion for $5 million.
Yeah.
And you don't get to see it. You just see the entrance. You think if you click through, all the other pictures are there? Of course they are. So there's sort of this constant feed of like celebrities buying or selling homes.
Yeah.
And it's highly clickable. We did one where we timed it with the Super Bowl. And it was like, hey, check out these homes of Super Bowl MVPs. Or, you know, as the playoffs for the NBA come up, like, have you seen LeBron James's mansion, right? Like you sort of be timely and superstar, but this is just traffic, page views, clicks. And the nice thing about a Facebook ad like that, Jimmy, is it's very inexpensive. It reaches a ton of people. People will start to follow your page. People will start to know you exist. And that's kind of part of marketing and advertising's goal too.
Yeah, I think you defined it perfectly, Chris, which is most people who run advertising campaigns who are inexperienced, they try to get married before they go on a first date. And part of your advertising strategy has to be about building brand awareness before you can build brand affinity. And so by running a campaign like this, you're like, well, what does this have to do with me selling condos in the north end of Boston? Well, the reality is that if they don't know you exist, they're not going to hire you. And this is one of those campaigns designed strictly for brand awareness. And it can certainly drive a ton of traffic, ton of engagement for your social.
And in most markets where you have sports teams and you have that type of stuff, right?
Yeah,
absolutely. Get as local as you can. I remember seeing, check out Gronk's, condo that he's selling in downtown Boston. That's obviously going to perform insanely well, hyper locally.
Yeah, totally. All right, so you got this one here. This appears to be a video ad, but a swipe up ad. First off, give people a little bit of context around, because I know you're really bullish on vertical. You put out some amazing content recently on Instagram about this. Just talk about number one, vertical, but then also number two, what this ad is and why you like it.
Yeah, well, one of the tips I gave is like your photographers and videographers should be required to take vertical photos and videos when you hire them. Like, stories are too popular on every social network. You're not even giving yourself, like, you can't take the picture they send you that's like this and just like find the door and crop it. Like when they take the photos vertically on purpose, it puts out really good stuff. So this was a swipe up ad that they were running. And what I love about it is they took advantage of the fact that the ad was vertical, and they combined that with a real world issue, which is like the moment you realize your home is as narrow as your phone. Like that's another pandemic induced reality a lot of people have come up with, which is like, I need a bigger house. I'm cramped up. Like I was talking to one of our employees, and it's like they're in a closet in a small apartment in the city doing their conference calls. There's nowhere else to do it.
Yeah.
So this is a really good concept because it's relatable. It's simple. The other thing I put in my research of this was it doesn't really look like an ad. It kind of looks like a story that you would see from somebody that you follow, like your buddy just took a picture with his socks on, which a lot of times, especially with stories, particularly, those can do better than something that is really highly polished. So you're going through your stories and you're seeing all the stuff your friends are sharing in their stories. And then you get to like this beautifully polished ad and there's a disconnect that like jumps off the screen as an ad. This is very simple. They clearly just used a phone, took the picture and posted it.
Well, one thing that I think is so important about this type of advertising campaign, Chris, is that this is a great example of like the adless ad. Meaning there's no like call to action. That's like, hey, do this, get this. It just speaks to an emotion that we feel as human beings that makes you stop in your tracks and say, it's just like this relatable copy. And I think this is something that's missing from most real estate advertising. It's so contrived and so focused on like getting someone from point A to point B that we don't focus on building that emotional connection by, as our friend Phil Jones would say, show them that you know them. So this idea of having some personality, some soul, and some swag behind your advertising campaigns without worrying about like click here to search for homes is okay. And this is an example of one that does that really well.
Yep.
All right, cool. What do we got next?
Yeah, the next one. This is funny. We did this. I mean, I'd like to think that every now and then we may even inspire some of these large companies because we're usually pretty early on like the clever ideas. But I had no idea how much people love like HGTV and house flippers and home renovations, but people go crazy for it. So this is an ad that is just meant to get as much engagement and interaction as possible. You can see there's no link, right?
Yeah.
If all of these HGTV stars came knocking on your door asking to do a renovation, who would you choose? And like, I don't even know who Karen and Mina are. I don't even know who Ben and Aaron is. Like, I've kind of heard of the Property Brothers and I've kind of heard of Christina and Tarek. Tariq, I apologize if I'm saying his name wrong, but like when we ran this exact type of campaign, the volume of comments of people like voting for their favorite, it basically went viral for a very low cost. So you get a ton of engagement, you grow your following, you get a ton of reach. It's kind of what we would call newsjacking, right? You're kind of just taking a popular trend and taking advantage of it for yourself, which there's nothing wrong with doing that. Now, a pro tip here is like, how do you turn 500 comments into business or opportunities for you or your team? Well, there is usually a filter, Jimmy, where if you go into your MLS and you run some searches or on your IDX on your website, you can search like fixer uppers. You can search for like renovation or perfect house for flipping, right? Like some of those things. And so create a link that basically drives people to the homes in your local market that are ideal for renovating. And so now all of a sudden somebody comes in and says, Ben and Aaron are my favorite. And you reply to their comment and say, awesome, that's our favorite too. Like if it is like, and then you say, if you're interested in seeing some of the local fixer uppers, you can click here and check out like what's for sale in Orlando that needs a little bit of work too. So you can like reply to their comment with a link and that keeps the comments coming in. And that now all of a sudden starts driving people to your website.
Could you see this being used, Chris? Like you're giving the celebrity example, but could you see this being used the same style, same format for something like a specific home feature, such as like showcasing like different kitchen styles and then using the exact same, like do you envision that working as well as something like this?
Yeah, we've tried it both ways actually. And it typically works well both ways. So 4 kitchens, which is your favorite, A, B, C, or D. That's one thing I would also add. If you want even more comments, like put a 1, a 2, a 3, or a 4. on the graphic. And then all of a sudden it's like 1, 2, 3, or 4. You get more comments because they just have to put the number. You could ask people which pool they'd rather have. Zillow did this a long time ago. Taste Test Tuesday. Hey, these two properties are both listed for $500K. Which one do you like more, A or B? Or 2 homes for sale in our market right now have stunning pools. Which pool do you like more? Yes, you can do an amenity.
Yeah, I love that. I forgot about Taste Test Tuesday. It was a wonderful example of like getting people to engage with your content. And by the way, Facebook's not stupid. If people are engaging with your content, that's showing some level of intent. So when you go to run an ad in the future, you're more likely to get your listing or maybe a blog post about, homes for sale in front of those people when you target them again. So intent does create, I think, more engagement. So just to recap here, Chris, you have number 1, highlight new construction, whether it's educational or just highlighting new construction homes. That's clearly something people are paying attention to. Number 2, identify sort of these newsworthy moments happening within your area or maybe nationally, like when celebrities are buying or selling real estate, and feature that just to drive traffic and awareness. Number 3, take advantage of sort of the adless ad moment. A vertical swipe up ad to get people to engage, but talk about the feelings people have that you can shine a light on. And finally, number 4, create an ad specifically designed for engagement by giving people sort of a multiple choice option to encourage a conversation, which then could lead to opening the door up to a sales conversation afterwards. I love it, Chris.
I mean, this could even be burger places, right? 4 burger places in Orlando.
Local burger places, amenities. I think the core concept is there. So, Chris, you mentioned design earlier. I think one of the tools that we love at Curaytor, and this is a quick pro tip before we move on, a tool called Dribble. It's actually with 3 B's, DRIBBBLE. This is a resource where you can go to find design inspiration. Part of running a great advertising campaign is standing out from the competition. And if you saw the Facebook ad library, you notice everyone's kind of using the same style, same design. Dribble is going to give you and your team inspiration on how to create beautiful ads that just capture your attention. So what Chris did is he went to dribble.com, 3 B's, DRIBBBLE, and he searched Facebook ads. And what he's showing you are all different examples of companies and businesses who are running advertising campaigns in an effort to sort of, promote the fact that they have a service or product to sell. So I think this is if you're looking for inspiration, because this entire session today, Chris, is about inspiration. If you're looking for design inspiration, use dribble.com, search Facebook ads, share that with your designers, share that with your marketers, help them create more compelling, more visually beautiful ads that help you get more results from your advertising campaigns.
Yeah, absolutely. And that's a good segue because when I see these ads, Jimmy, if I'm watching this, if I'm an agent, I'm running a team, I'm a small brokerage, that's typically who watches our stuff. You get a little bit of FOMO, great ads, great copy, great calls to action, great design work. The landing page, and the destination matches the ad perfectly. That's what happens when you actually have professionals running your ads. And that's what we do at Curaytor. We actually create ads. We're going to show some in a little bit for agents and teams that help them generate high quality leads that are easy to convert. So anyone who's interested, we actually do this zip codes and we do it exclusive by market so that there's not, a bunch of the same ads running with all your competitors. We do buyer leads. We do buyers that need to sell soon. We do neighborhood stuff. We do price point stuff. Basically, we're constantly doing what we're doing today, which is researching best practices, and then we're executing those best practices for our clients. So if you'd be interested in having a professional marketing and advertising company like Curaytor run your ads for you, create your ads for you, go to curaytor.com/schedule. Very simple. Curaytor.com/schedule, or you can actually just go to our website and click check availability, put in your information. Our team will get in touch with you. They'll check your area. They'll give you everything about pricing, etc. But we'd love to work with some of you guys. This is what we do. It's our specialty. It's our passion. We love it. And if you don't, that's what we're here for. So We do have a special for people that are watching today that have been in touch with our team and, they're looking forward to signing up soon. If anyone signs up from this webinar by the end of the day tomorrow, which is a Friday, you're going to get a $500 credit to your account. So we will actually lower the price of your payment to us by $500 so that you can actually apply that to your Facebook ad budget. So basically it's like $500 worth of free ads, but we just give you a credit from the monthly fee. So go to Curaytor.com/schedule. We'd love to work with you guys, but we're going to keep it moving here. The next one up, Jimmy, is Compass.
Yeah, so Compass recently just IPO'd. They're now a publicly traded company, and they are a company that has branded themselves as a technology company that just happens to sell real estate. They obviously have some of the smartest, most innovative thought leaders working for them. So I'm really excited to see what you have here for advertising campaigns, because clearly they've been on the cutting edge, and they've built, to their credit, they built a great brand in real estate. And I think they've been obviously doing that through running some really smart advertising campaigns. So where do we start, Chris?
Well, what's interesting is they're attracting some really talented agents because people are attracted to good work. Like, they're good at branding. They're good at advertising. They're clearly smart. I think they're worth $8 billion or something crazy, Jimmy. They just went public. So yeah, the Compass ads are really revealing. Before I go into those, I forgot to mention this. You guys can follow along with all of these ads. You can see the takeaways, see the graphics. We did this on our website instead of in a slideshow. It's Curaytor.com/ads. Jimmy, if you want to drop that in the chat for people, but Curaytor.com/ads is where we have all of the ads. It's also where I'll be adding additional companies that I dissect in the future. So make sure you guys check that page out too. Regarding Compass, this was a big one. And I mentioned this before with consumer trends, like moving to the burbs. There's just a lot of people that are thinking that they don't want to be in the city anymore. This is Lilia. She's actually in the burbs of Philly, not in Philly. Clearly they would target this at the people that live in Philly. It's a beautiful shot. It makes the suburbs look appealing and spacious. She's got her brand in there. This is something I noticed with Compass, Jimmy. They like to have their cake and eat it too. Sometimes that works. Sometimes that's not the best choice. But in almost every ad they run, they put themselves in the ad. Because worst case, let's say you don't get as many clicks as you thought or as many leads as you thought, at least you're getting your face out there on a regular basis and picking up a little bit of that, hey, I see your stuff everywhere kind of brand building concept. But COVID-19 changed things, and you're now going to have to lean into that trend. Like, think about it, Jimmy. If you become known as the person that's the best at helping people that are relocating from the city to the burbs, that sort of like word of mouth, because all the people moving to the city have all the friends in the city. And then all the people that move to the city, their friends in the city see that they moved to the burbs. They see their 4,000 square foot home and they're like, man, maybe we should move there too. Like, and then now all of a sudden that's a referral opportunity for you. So I thought it was a great graphic. I love the font. I like that they put the agent in there. Buyers are cutting ties with the cities where they work, looking for more space and privacy in the burbs, the country, and second home destinations. That's just true. That is what is happening. So they're leaning into it. I thought that was really smart.
Well, let's talk about trends here for a second. The keyword, when will the real estate market crash, is up 2,450%. So consumers are top of mind saying, is there a crash coming? Is there a correction coming? People are thinking about it because they feel like everything that goes up must come down. That's the source, CNBC. My boy Ross Hardy shared that with me. The search phrase, how much more should I offer than the asking price, is up 350%. This speaks to the demand that people have around, or the experience people have around multiple offers and losing bidding wars. So what you're really saying here, Chris, is identify the trends that are now different today and build advertising campaigns around that. I guarantee you, if someone wrote an article that said, when will the real estate market crash? and wrote a really thoughtful article that shared all the data around how this is different than 2008. What are some of the key factors you should look at? What are some of the challenges that are coming in the future? And they ran an ad behind that. That would get a ridiculous amount of clicks for a ridiculously low cost, because it's what people are thinking about right now. So this is a good example of just great advertising, tapping into sort of the psyche of the consumer in the moment. Love it. What do you got next?
I just had an idea as you went through that too, which is I would like reverse this campaign too. I would be like, there's nothing that's better than living in the city.
Yeah.
Let them leave, right? I'm staying in the city. You should stay in the city too. Here's the properties for sale in Manhattan. Like, so I think that because I think there's a pride amongst the people that are just like, yeah, but you get to live in Boston.
I would serve that ad to my wife. I'm not sure it would work, but yes. Love it. All right, cool. So next up we have what, Chris?
Well, this is just your good old fashioned just listed, but there were several things I loved about this ad. And knowing what we know, Jimmy, this ad would have gotten a lot of traction, a lot of clicks, definitely would have gotten some leads. So the highlights in this ad are, there's really only the design of the ad. There's the words in the ad, and then there's where the ad goes. You might add the call to action as well.
Yeah.
So this is what we call a money shot. It's a beautiful home, beautifully photographed from a beautiful angle, right? Like that is what you would consider to be just a gorgeous curb appeal shot of the property. If you read the copy, which serious people do, it says that it has been meticulously renovated. It is nestled in the most protected block of Mapleton Hill. Enjoy the convenience of living to iconic Boulder amenities, right? Whoever wrote that ad is a good copywriter. Meticulously renovated, nestled, iconic Boulder amenities. Like that stuff matters. People that read this stuff care about the copy. Sometimes the copy in our industry is so sloppy. And then with listings, you can get a lot of traffic, you can get a lot of leads, but obviously you do want serious leads. And so I like the schedule of showing as the call to action. Maybe don't get quite as many people. And then it's like, if you're Steve and you listed that property, like you kind of want to put yourself in there. We've tested this, Jimmy, where you feature an agent the way they did in a listing ad or not. It virtually had no impact on the click-through rate or the leads generated. So if I know that when I run an ad, I can put my headshot in it or not, and it will perform the same, I'm putting my headshot in it. Because now I'm getting my face out there in front of everybody too. And do you think that when you click on an ad like this and you register, like you might be expecting Steve to follow up with you? Like there's sort of a salesperson in the design. So the idea that a salesperson might hit you up, and you've already seen Steve, if that's the case. So I just thought this was a really good listing ad by Compass.
Yeah, let me just give me a little bit of runway here, because I think this is just an important point, and we're doing great on time. But there's an article on CNBC, and I'll share it in the chat here, that talks about real estate commission. And one of the interesting things they did when they were doing an analysis, they found that agents are generally charging the same amount of commission. And I'll drop in the chat if you want to pull it up here, Chris. They're charging basically, around 6%, 5.5%. And it's really not negotiable, according to a survey done by a reputable firm that was interviewing agents and consumers across 20 different markets. And so when you think about commission as really a pretty standard price, and I realize there's a lot of hot button issues here around talking about commission publicly. But when you recognize that most real estate agents are charging roughly the same commission within a percentage or two, then what you have to say as a brand, from a brand strategy perspective, how do I justify my fee when everyone's charging the same price? And you do that through something known as a quality queue. And Chris just mentioned two of those quality cues. A quality cue is a signal to a consumer that demonstrates that your brand is special, that you're premium service. And so by using a great photograph, Chris, and great copy, you're signaling to the consumer that you're not taking a listing photo with a, your iPhone like this, and you're certainly not writing copy as if you're a 13-year-old teenager with a bunch of emojis and words that, the consumer doesn't understand. So this, I think, represents the demographic, and it also signals to the consumer that this is a high quality agent who's worth their commission.
Yeah. And I want to ask the audience really quickly, we've got a bunch of ads to go through. I feel like time's flying. If you are enjoying this class, if you're enjoying what we're teaching, let us know in the chat. That kind of gives us oxygen to keep cranking it out. We want to know that you guys feel like this is a good use of your time. You're taking notes. There's takeaways. We're actually going to give you a chance to share your notes with us on Instagram. I love it when people kind of take a picture of their notes and send them to me so I can see that they were really engaged. But it looks like people are loving it. Jimmy, Michelle, and Vanessa, and Jessica, and Mark, and Alma, and everybody else seem to be really pumped. Alexa, thank you. She actually said it was great before I asked her to tell us that it was great. So definitely appreciate that.
Very cool. All right, cool. What do we got next for Compass?
Yeah. Well, this is what's really interesting because the personal brand in many ways, Jimmy, is the new differentiator. Yeah. The rise of personal brands online are inarguable. And real estate's always been about branding. Like you guys were putting your headshots on signs and mail and business cards before social media even existed. So real estate agents have always tried to put their face out there. But what I found is very few agents actually put a personal brand campaign out into the marketplace. Yeah. They do listings, they do solds, they do neighborhoods, they do market reports, right? They do blogs, videos, but they don't actually do something that's just like a personal brand centric campaign. So this is obviously the Misty Stewart group. It's a great shot. I don't know if that's their office or a nice house that they listed, but it looks amazing. They've got bright colors, clearly professionally photographed. Like if you're working in a fairly small area of your market, there's no reason that you shouldn't put out some campaigns that are just about you. But what I also like what they did, they kind of had their cake and ate it too. They asked a question, Jimmy, that I know you love. At what price would you sell your home? The market's on fire. Contact us today. We'll tell you how much it's worth. At what price would you sell your home? Yeah. Not do you want to know what your home's worth? Let us know your number. You asked me this recently, what's your number? How much would you have to get for you and your wife to consider moving? And I basically came up with a number, and it was unreasonable, but barely. You know what I mean? It was like barely unreasonable. So they're clearly leaning into two popular trends, which is home values are way up and people are getting astronomical offers and getting above list price, above appraisal, like all over the place. And they're also doing a good job with the personal brand. So I like the kind of 2-for-1 of the ad.
I'm seeing it for the first time here, Chris, and I love it. I think, we have to realize in brand strategy, in the absence of a well-known brand, the consumer will just choose whatever is familiar to them, which is why so many customers, so many clients, so many consumers are listing their home with part-time, inexperienced realtors who sell 2 houses per year. It drives like top agents crazy. Like, why would you hire someone to do something so important and sell your house who's only done it twice or does it on the side? And we think the consumer is a moron. They're not. They're just going with what's familiar and what's safe. So the strategy behind a brand campaign, this is a strategy that we really employ at Curaytor because we believe it's so important, the importance of building a brand. This is what listing agents do. Buyers agents focus on just, searching for homes and forced registration. Listing agents understand the value of building a brand and they invest really heavily in it. And clearly the Misty Stewart team is doing just that. And I think they've done a wonderful job with this campaign, Chris.
Yeah. They could have even added we've sold 500 of them in the last 2 years. I don't know what their stats are, but that could be powerful too. Yeah. Personal brand, seller centric, leveraging a market trend. they threw the emoji in there, which I know a lot of people are afraid to do, but it actually can be a nice touch when you don't go overboard.
Totally. Cool. All right. What do we got next?
Well, the next one is very simple. Like, your job is to get the job done, right? Your job is to get the job done. And people are asking about the recording and the replay. We will get that out to you guys as quick as we can, probably early next week. We're going to put the ads on one page. We're going to put a video. We'll add this actual video to it, and we'll get it back out to you guys. But right now, people are listing agents are actually creating the legendary results for their clients, let's call it, right? So in this example, Sarah and Chris listed the home and it just sold for 22% over list price. That's a big number. If you're thinking of selling this year, I like the copy, this year, not right now. If you think of selling this year, you should contact us to see what your home is worth. Good call to action at the bottom. Ready to sell? Contact us today, right? This is actually an ad that you could just go right to the contact form, right? Because that's what everything in the ad says. So if you're getting an offer in the first 12 hours, if you're getting 62 offers on a property, if you're selling a home for 15 or 20 or 25% over asking price, those are marketable moments. And it really completes the feedback loop. It's basically saying, hey, we did our job and we did it well, and we can do it well for you too. If I lived anywhere near that property, I would actually go to my wife and be like, hey, honey, they sold their property for 22% more than they were asking. Maybe we should think about selling our home soon. So I know the news is good. I know that's relevant to people. Put it in an ad campaign and make it super hyper local. Create a little bit of FOMO, because the reality is we don't know how long this will last. That's always a true statement. No one can predict the future.
Yeah, well, I think really smart agents, this is what I think that we coach really heavily at Curaytor, is really smart agents look at their advertising budget and they break it not only at their overall business's advertising budget, but they also have a listing advertising budget. And so that should be anywhere between 10 to 20% of the commission that you currently earn on the sale of a property should be dedicated towards the marketing, the preparing, marketing, and advertising and listing. Now, unfortunately, what most agents do, Chris, is they spend 99% of that budget on the initial launch and only 1% on the sale. What we want you to do is take that same formula and take, say, 60% of your advertising and marketing budget goes towards the launch, but then the other 30 to 40% goes towards the sale. There's a concept at Curaytor we coach called market your marketing, which is you did an amazing job promoting this property. You sold it above asking price. Congratulations. Now make sure everybody knows that. So you build up that recognition in your market. So it's a concept I think really smart top producing teams embrace that's not really talked about often, honestly. And I think there's an opportunity here, Chris, for us to say, hey, leave some money aside to promote the sale of the property. And this is a campaign, Chris, I want to point this out. This is a campaign you can run for months. It doesn't just happen for 3 or 4 days. You could run this thing for months and get results from it. So I love it.
Depending on your rules around like how long you can promote a sold after it happens. But besides that factor, yes, this isn't a 1 or 2 day thing.
Very cool.
This could be a month-long campaign. So Jimmy,
right, awesome.
I'm gonna set you up for the next sort of tip and trick here. We have 2 companies left to profile. Zillow, they're worth $40 billion alone. And I can't wait for you guys to see the ads they're running. And then the Curaytor ads. But before that, Jimmy, there's a technology that you're really bullish on because, we're managing and running all these campaigns across the country at scale. We're tracking their performance. We're trying to find the best ones. We're trying to move, the budget to the winners, if you will. We're trying to make sure the ads are effective, in the short run and the long run. We need to know when it's time to refresh an ad or pull an ad or put a new ad up. Talk about RevealBot, because this basically seems like it sort of helps you with all of those choices.
Yeah. So for people who hire Curaytor and partner with us, we have a team of like 15 or 20 people who are working behind the scenes to bring you on board, to develop your campaigns, launch your strategies, and then just working with you on an ongoing basis to help you get results from your marketing and advertising. Well, some of you just simply can't afford Curaytor. It's not an option. So what's a plan B? What's a stepping stone? You might want to look into a tool like RevealBot, which is it allows you to introduce some smart rules with your advertising. So I'll give you an example of this. If you're running lots of Facebook ads on your own because you have more time than money and you're putting your effort behind it, well, what RevealBot will do is it will allow you to create a rule like this. If my cost per click is below a certain threshold, increase my budget. And so we do that at Curaytor. We're really thoughtful about managing your account, which is why you pay us. But for those of you who don't, like you have to have some automation behind the scenes. What I find people do, Chris, who are just starting with advertising, they have 3 listings they want to promote that month, and each listing they give the exact same budget. And the reality is one of those listings is probably going to do exceptionally well and should get a disproportionate amount of your budget that month. And so you should put more money behind your winners and let's call it a fixed amount behind your losers. Yeah. This is where automation can really help with this. So RevealBot allows you to create rules. It allows you to be really smart about how you spend your money and how you do targeting. And it's a great option for those of you who love to DIY. We work with people who say, Chris, do it for me. Like, here's the keys, go, right? But for those of you who are watching right now who are DIYers, this is an awesome option for you to check out. Yeah, I love it. It seems really smart. And those are also the kind of technologies that help us analyze things at scale. The best sort of the winners are humans and computers, right? The cyborgs are the grand champions. It's not going to be one or the other. Computer ain't going to do your job for you, but a human without smart technology can't do their job as well as they should for you. So I love that. RevealBot sounds really cool. We're on to Zillow, the big Z. I was on a webinar yesterday and I said the Z word is kind of like the F word with realtors. Like it's like a 4-letter word, not a 6-letter word. But I would have to guess here, Jimmy, that Zillow is spending by far the most on ads of any of the companies that we've profiled so far. Yeah. They have more brand awareness with consumers. They have more traffic to sort of analyze how people behave once they get there. Yeah. They charge more for their leads than like anything in the history of real estate. And now they're charging a commission. They're like making you give them part of your commission when they get a deal. So there's just a lot to learn from Zillow. And spoiler alert, they're really good at running ads. They had some really good ads. So anything else to add there just on the topic of Zillow in general? We had Rand Fishkin, the founder of Moz, who's got a new startup called SparkToro, on the water cooler not too long ago. And he talked about this iconic dinner he had with Rich Barton, and I believe Spencer was there, Spencer Raskoff. And they said, our goal, this is like 2010, our goal is to make the word Zillow synonymous with the word real estate. And they were able to accomplish that. The word Zillow is actually searched more than the word real estate right now on Google. They have built an iconic brand. The fact they're getting spoofed on SNL tells you they've reached the masses, right? And people love it. So I think it is worth us putting aside our feelings towards it to say, what can we learn from this business? What can we take and apply in our local market? I think you've done a wonderful job with the examples you have. So why don't we kick off number 1 here, Chris? Yeah, real quick, Jimmy, before I do that, I wanted to give one more shout out, because where we share, if you're enjoying, everybody said they were enjoying it. So if you actually go to Instagram right now, we should, Sarah, if you can drop these links in the chat. I want everybody watching to head over and follow Jimmy Mackin on Instagram. You can see the kind of frequency and fire that Jimmy's putting out. So definitely make sure you're following Jimmy if you want to get, actionable advice. Jimmy's goal is to be the most useful person in real estate. I think he's well on his way. You can also head over to my profile, Chris_SMTH. You can see, Jimmy, this is actually Homes.com's ads. They just got bought for $156 million by CoStar. So I broke down all of their ads. This is where I released the ads worth copying first. My
account is Chris_SMTH. But do me a favor, follow us and then just send us a DM. Let us know that you were on the webinar. Let us know that you were watching live or watching the replay. Send us a picture of your notes. Post your notes in a story and tag us. We'd love to get some engagement from you guys over on IG. But yeah, Jimmy, on Zillow, the first thing is, again, what is the new phenomenon, right? Mm-hmm. Well, 3D tours are like the new photos. There was a while there, especially at the beginning of the pandemic, where it almost felt like that was going to become the new default way that people looked at homes. Like you just weren't going to be willing to go in person until you did one of those. So I love the design here. They've got the little buttons. Get a closer look at a home you love with virtual and in-person tours. So not saying one or the other, they're saying both. Yeah. At the bottom, it actually says, request a tour with Zillow. The button actually says book now, right? Mm-hmm. So they are going for people further down in the funnel based on those calls to action, based on the buttons that they're using. But this is something all of you guys can be doing, because if you go into your IDX and you start filtering by 3D tour, yes or no, and then you could also filter by other stuff like zip code and 3D tour, or 3D tour and price point, or 3D tour and neighborhood, right? You can start to create some really compelling hyper local stuff where it would be, check out every home for sale right now in Avalon Park that includes a 3D tour. You didn't have to create all the 3D tours. They're just on your website, being pulled in from the other agents that created them. So I think this is a no-brainer ad, because you're going to get buyers that are a little bit more serious. They want to see the home. They might want to book a tour. They don't just want to swipe through pictures. They want to walk through the home, which is a much more submersive experience. And you guys, in 99% of cases, have the ability to offer that too, not just from your own listings, but from all the listings through IDX, through broker reciprocity on your website.
Yeah, it's a really smart idea, Chris. And I think just to echo that point, one of our clients, Jordan Rossman, who generated, I think, over $60,000 in GCI off of one blog post. All he did was aggregate a list of 7 homes for sale in his local area with 3D tours, and he ran an advertising campaign behind that post. Didn't actually require registration, didn't require any additional information. It was like, here are the socially distanced safe homes in our area. All of those homes have now sold, I'm sure, so they're probably not available on the website. But he, you'll see here, I believe it's scroll a little bit down further. He featured it, and I thought, what a smart idea. And I think one of the big opportunities, there it is, beautiful homes in Aurelio that are socially distance safe. One of the really smart ideas here is do the work for the customer, meaning that there are homes for, like, if you go to Zillow, Chris, for me, just real quick, go to Zillow.com. Like, the consumer has to type in the address or the area. They have to filter by location. They have to filter by price. They have to filter by amenities. They have to filter by, specific features or school districts, whatever it is, like home type. Like, they're having to do the work. And so, like, when you go to a restaurant, Chris, and you order like a lobster roll, they don't give you the whole lobster cooked and give you something to crack it open and build your own sandwich. They pull the meat out and they give it to you, right? And this is kind of what you can do from a marketing perspective, is pull out the lobster meat, right? Like, gather the listings, put it in a blog post, and then make it easy for people to consume it. That's what Jordan did. He promoted it, got ridiculous results from it, generated a ton of new revenue from the business. But all he's doing is taking like a widely beloved feature, 3D tours, and making it easy for the consumer. So I would encourage everyone to try that tactic. I love it, Chris.
Yeah. The next one, Jimmy, is something I'm sure, especially you're in the city in Boston, you're in the North End. And I mean, no offense, but you don't even have a backyard. Maybe your building has like a little patio or a garden or something, but like, outdoor space is another one of those trending searches that consumers are doing. Home office, outdoor space, big square footage, those are the sort of things the pandemic has caused us to want to look at, not just the moving or relocating stuff. So I just thought this was really smart. It's actually a very, it almost looks like a children's book. You know what I mean? Like Zillow has a benefit that they are actually such a known brand that they don't have to make everything like an annoying ad that tries to get a lead. But look at the way they use the data, Jimmy. This year, we needed room to spread out. 41% of people said they valued a large outdoor space. So that's a big percentage. That's probably a survey that they conducted that anybody watching this could go find and say, if you're like 40% of the people in Charlotte, you're looking for a property that has a good amount of outdoor space. So again, we've done the work for you. Here's 5 homes in Charlotte with massive backyards. Check them out. I think there's a lot you can do here.
Well, Chris, to be fair, pull the link up I just dropped in the chat for us. This is we use a tool called BuzzSumo to identify and rank like really great ideas that companies are creating online. So this is one that Zillow did. It was actually among their top 5 most popular posts from 2020. And it was what moved us. And it's a beautiful post about all the trends that happened. Like this is one about Key West. My parents are actually in Key West right now. 8.7 more favorites in Key West alone than the national average. And you can see people, how they're searching, some of the behavior. Look at this one here, Chris. 1 in 8 people made an offer sight unseen. That is unbelievable that people are making offers without seeing the home. Now, I'm sure that's happened in the past, but I guarantee that trend has been increasing. And you can see like some of the key data points. So here's the lesson. Redfin, Zillow, KCM, Keeping Current Matters. Give a shout out to those guys doing some great work. CNBC, Financial Times, right? The Atlantic. These guys are New York Times. They're putting out amazing data about the real estate market and super interesting trends. And so what you're featuring here, Chris, is like, yes, you're talking about moving outdoor, but the use of data is just so smart. I would love to see you guys take advantage of these tools to create more compelling, more persuasive, and more sort of authoritative ads about the real estate market. So the Zillow What Moved Us page is an awesome page, but the ad you featured is sort of probably grabbing some of that data, Chris, and just using it in this campaign.
Yeah, exactly. And on a pro tip, if you search illustrations, that's kind of the design style they use there. Typically you can actually find like pre-made, really well done illustrations that you can use in your marketing, of course, with permission from these websites. So
love it.
Good stuff. The other thing that they did, Jimmy, and I had never seen this before, they did a good job of actually focusing on buyers and sellers in the same ad, which I think the stat was right around 3/4 of all sellers need to buy as soon as they sell. But I mean, we've been looking at ads for a decade. They're usually either a buyer or a seller ad. It's usually one or the other. What I thought they did a good job of here is they actually, first of all, they used a carousel, which gets a lot of engagement. But it basically, if you look at the first little box there, looking to sell, right? And then the second box, find a home you love, right? So it's sort of like, oh, that ad's for me because I need to sell and buy. So I do think that there's, we've talked about one of the biggest challenges is people want to sell, but they don't have a place to buy. Like, then use that as ammunition and leverage and content where it's like, hey, if you need to sell and buy at the same time, it's probably a little scary. That's the kind of stuff that we help people do at our company. So I actually like that they did buyers and sellers in one ad. I think that's a good pro tip.
Yeah, I think what you're describing is I would call it a scenario specific ad, which is you're saying I think that you're right around the right number. I've heard like 2/3, 3/4, and it's probably different for your area. You should know what that is, to be clear. But you're saying like this is a specific scenario that we want to market that someone's experiencing, and they're going to believe that the recommendation you have is relevant and right for them. So I think it's a really smart idea.
Exactly.
Cool. Pain points. I know that people I read a study not too long ago. I wish I could find it. Maybe I'll share it in the notes in the recording here, but that people are twice as likely to avoid pain than they are to experience pleasure. I actually heard that's actually closer to 7 times more likely to avoid pain than experience pleasure. So you like the idea of using pain points in an ad. Break this down for us.
Well, between Open Door and Zillow Offers and OfferPad and all the other clones, the iBuyer phenomenon is not going away. It's something. It's like a FSBO. It's part of the industry now. It's like expired. It's something that happens in the industry. And so what I noticed is like, if you go to every iBuyer website, Jimmy, they all say the exact same thing. They say, move safely, move quickly, no stress, something like that. Right.
Yeah.
And this is just a great ad from Zillow. 0 home prep, 0 open houses, 0 days on market. Right. So knowing that that type of messaging is out there, and knowing that that's going to be something that it's at least going to draw consumers in because it's appealing. What I would be thinking a lot about with my campaigns and with my marketing and talk tracks would be like, what's the sort of like pain point of doing that? They're saying, we'll take away all the pain of selling your home. What I would be saying is, what's the cost of doing that? Because there is a cost to doing it, you know, call it Silicon Valley style. So what I mentioned here in the copy is like 0 home prep. That basically means you're not maximizing the value of your home. There's a lot of agents that kind of make a living giving people smart advice on things to fix up to increase the amount of money that they get, whether that's paint or whether that's flooring or bathrooms or kitchens or fixtures. Like there's a way to sort of spend a little and get back a lot. If you think about 0 open houses, doesn't that mean like there's no demand? Like you're doing an auction and you're only accepting 1 bid, which doesn't make a lot of sense. So it's kind of like, hey, don't fix your house up and it won't sell for more than it could. Hey, don't do an open house. Yeah, but then I'm not exposing it to serious buyers and I'm avoiding a bidding war. Like 0 days on market. Doesn't that mean that I might be leaving it money on the table because I didn't actually put my largest asset out onto the open market to see how much I could potentially get for it? So I would just say, you know, and then the other thing I would say here, Jimmy, is if it's a stress-free process to work with you, if it's quick and simple and easy and safe and stress-free to work with you, now that's not true for every agent, but if it is, make that part of your talk track too. Like the only way to sell your home quickly without a lot of stress, without a lot of work on your behalf, is not iBuyer. There's lots of agents that can help you through that process too. So I would be thinking a lot about like kind of, you know, everybody knows like, why shouldn't somebody FSBO, right? And they'll all say right away, like, well, you know, there's litigation issues that you might want to think about, but the average for sale by owner sells for this much less than the average regular home sells that's listed by an agent. Well, in many cases, that's the same case right now with iBuyers. You know, if you go through them, your net proceeds are less. So I would point that out. I would make that something that was important for people to understand. They have the choice and they're going to get marketed to about it, but let them understand, you know, the real side-by-side comparison to sort of doing it both ways.
Well, what's really interesting about what you said, the Wall Street Journal put an article out about buyer's remorse. And they talked about how a certain percentage of the population that bought a house during the pandemic, because everybody's buying a house during the pandemic, experienced like severe buyer's remorse. And I think what you're talking about is like, don't sell your house too quickly, which is like, it's a contrarian approach, because what you don't want is you don't want to have seller's remorse. What is seller's remorse? It's when you sell your home so quickly that you don't take advantage of your opportunity to maximize your profit in this sort of once in a lifetime real estate market. And so I think what you're talking about here is like this idea of realizing selling quickly doesn't make a whole lot of sense when you can actually get some bids for the property and actually drive the price up.
Yeah. And I would use that talk track, Jimmy, if I were, talking with a customer. I would say, what we're trying to do for your home is to kind of have an auction with as many people bidding as we can, so
Yeah.
that they drive the bidding price up. If you only have one person bidding on your home, you do eliminate the chance for that to happen. And right now in today's market, it's happening all the time. So just be really smart about which way you decide to go. So I'm going to reverse it here, Jimmy. I've been spending a ton of my time on what these companies are doing and how that can impact our strategy and decisions for customers. You're actually executing and in the trenches with our customers at Curaytor. And so we wanted to point out some of the best ads that we're running right now for agents and teams alongside of them. The first one is that it says neighborhood lead ads. I love Sandy Blanton. Talk about the first ad.
Yeah. So, and just real quickly before I do, because we had a question that came in earlier, for those of you who are looking to hire Curaytor and really want to get your marketing done right, you can actually just drop your zip code. What is the area that you currently sell homes in or that you want to own? Drop your zip code in the chat for us. Our team will reach out. They'll get you more information about our services, how it works. But if you drop your zip code in the chat, our team will certainly touch base with you, talk about our services. So the first ad here, Chris, is around a neighborhood lead ad. So due to the changes with Facebook's targeting, you can no longer target someone by a specific zip code. You now have to do an area with a radius around it. So the way to overcome that is to actually include language in the copy that identifies the area that you serve. So we're doing two things here. We're mentioning the area. We're including a beautiful shot of the area. We're highlighting also the property type, which is condos. And then finally, the price point. Now, what you don't see in this ad, this goes to a Facebook lead form. And the beauty of Facebook lead forms is it allows us to capture people's information, but it requires them to opt in for a second time. And by doing so, we can ensure a higher quality lead than if they were just to go to our website and register through forced registration, because it's actually a forced opt-in in this case. So what we're seeing here, Chris, is that we're saying we're taking a search on your IDX. So you come to Curaytor and say, hey, listen, the area that I want buyers and sellers in is, let's say, Pensacola, 300 to 400,000. That's my sweet spot. Yep. We'll build out an entire neighborhood campaign for homes like that, and we'll serve that ad to generate leads. Now, this is a perfect strategy for those of you who are looking to move up in price. If you're selling $300,000 houses and you want to move to, say, $600,000, well, we got to start advertising to the ideal customer you want to use. So neighborhood lead ads allows us to accomplish that.
Yeah, I love it. And that's the thing. It's an area of Pensacola. It's not all of Pensacola. It's Pensacola Beach. Yep. It's not all properties. It's condos. And it's not all condos. It's condos between 300,000 and 500,000. So you can imagine when you are the buyer looking for that, this is pretty irresistible, right? Yeah. And you're right. You should want to generate buyer leads that are in your wheelhouse, area, price point, property type, and that's what this ad does. This one's actually super interesting, Jimmy. This is a messenger ad. Yep. Where you're taking advantage of an area where the agent's allowed to run a coming soon campaign. Talk us through this one.
Well, the thing about messenger ads, so when you have a new listing that's about to hit the market in your MLS, it might be 24 hours before it's available to everybody. Some people can have it for 14 or 30 days. But one thing is true. You very rarely, before you promote the property fully, have all the photos, have the video, have the description dialed in. You might just have a single shot. So what a messenger ad allows us to do, it allows us to run an ad with just a single asset. It doesn't go to a landing page, but goes into someone's Facebook inbox. So you can say, before this home hits the market, if you're interested in learning more about it, send us a quick message. And the beauty of an ad like this, Chris, is it bypasses the traditional filling out a form, going into your CRM, responding to an automated action plan. It goes right into a real world conversation with the consumer. So what we like to do with messenger ads is if a client has a listing that's going to hit the market, we want to put that behind a direct call to action, which is If you want information about this home, send us a message. And we try to find a great shot. This one obviously has a beautiful kitchen, which generated great results for her, but it goes directly into your DM. And now you're just talking to more people in your local area and bypassing all of the sort of steps that go in the process. So we're a huge fan of the messenger ad strategy.
Yeah. And when you have a listing that's coming soon, that's not on the market, that all the details are not out there yet, that's when you can more so use send us a message to learn more. You can't use that for every type of ad. This next one, Jimmy, is what you're calling a traditional listing ad. I've seen a million real estate agents try to promote their listings on Facebook. Why did you choose this one?
Yeah, well, this is a traditional listing ad for Curaytor. So we've generated over 5 million leads on Facebook alone just in the last few years from our listing ads. And one thing that we pioneered at Curaytor was creating advertising campaigns designed to help you give away some information, get engagement, but also drive higher quality leads to your business. So this example is we're using a few photos. We recommend between 5 and 7. If you got 30 photos, we're giving away like 25%. In this case, they got 3. You probably don't have that many photos of this home. We're notably not giving away the location or the price. So we're still giving away a ton of information, the home, the details, the specs, but we're not giving away the price and the location, because when they click on that link, it will drive them to a landing page in which they can opt in to get the specific details. So we're able to sort of promote a listing, drive massive awareness for that home, at the exact same time, create the necessary sort of filter to drive in really only serious people who are looking to get more information about that home. So every listing that we have at Curaytor, we either promote or we coach our clients to run an ad like this. The benefit of an ad like this is that you can get a cost per click, Chris, of like under 10 cents, which on Facebook is sort of unheard of. So we're a huge fan of the carousel listing ads for new listings.
Awesome. The next one's a seller ad. You mentioned Thrive Realty earlier. Jessica Woodbeck and Justin are a pleasure to work with. They're always doing new and innovative things. What are they doing right in this seller ad?
Yeah, this is just a real quick down, fastball down the middle. I just think that we need to be running more seller ads than we were in the past. I think, you and I pioneered the find out what your home is worth. And for a long time, we can get seller leads for $10, for $15, for $20 a pop. But as the market became more saturated, as rules began to change, that ad kind of fell out of flavor. But the good news is that because people stopped doing it, now there's a window for us to begin to run some more seller-centric ads. So you featured one of these earlier, Chris. I think it was with Compass, I believe, around the brand ad. I just think if you're not running a seller-centric ad right now, or you're not asking seller-centric questions on your buyer's ad, you're really missing out on capturing some more listing opportunities for your business.
Yeah, it's funny. The real estate market right now is like Vegas. Like, you're up big, you might want to cash out. You might not want to sit there and drink and play blackjack all night.
Yep.
Because you've already got a huge stack of chips in front of you. I love it. And then the last two are carousel ads. This one, I'll take the lead on this one, Jimmy, but most people promote one of their listings at a time. This ad allows you to promote all of your listings in one ad, which is really powerful. These ads get a lot of clicks, a lot of traction. It's a lot of work. Like, for our team, and as we do these for people, new listing hits the market, you got to add it. Listing sells, you got to remove it. But carousel ads that feature just your listings is a good play. The only caveat here is you do have to have 3 to 10 listings to do this with. You can't do this if you only have 1 or 2 listings. But as you have more than one listing, it's a great ad unit, and I don't see enough people using it. The last ad, Jimmy, is what's called dynamic listing ads, and this is kind of a newer trend. Talk about what Gretchen Coley's doing here.
Yeah. So one of the things that we like to do with any type of retargeting ad is based on people's search behavior, we can serve them ads that are relevant to them on Facebook. So the same way that, let's say, an action plan within your CRM is designed to get people to engage and reply and come back to your website, you can use dynamic listing ads as a follow-up mechanism, as a way to get someone to engage, come back to your website. So the way this works is when someone is on your website, let's say they came in through that celebrity ad, They learned about John Travolta's house. They clicked on search for homes. Now they start actually filtering down what homes are looking for in your area. Well, the next time they log on to Facebook, they're now going to see listings that are similar to the ones that they were searching for on your website. And so this is a dynamic listing ad. And the beauty of an ad like this, and why it's so powerful as a complement to the strategies we talked about today, Chris, is that it's going to update with their search criteria. So as they filter, as they change their criteria, we will update the listings that we serve, which makes sure that every listing, every time is relevant to the consumer. And the key is, and we've done a lot of research on this topic, Chris, around conversion, lead conversion. And one thing that we learn about lead conversion, one of the kind of canary in the coal mine, the thing that is a great identifier of why leads convert, is that we found that leads that are on your website more than 3, 4, or 5 times, who come back over and over again, are significantly more likely to become an appointment and become a customer. So our strategy from a brand perspective is saying we have got to raise awareness that you exist. We've got to build up your brand and make sure people know who you are. But then we got to get people coming back to the website over and over again. We can do that through content marketing. We can do that through sales. We can do that through obviously being active on social, but you can also do that through dynamic advertising as a mechanism to bring them back into your world. So I'm a huge fan of this strategy. It works perfectly with Curaytor's kind of overall advertising strategy, and people, absolutely love the idea of getting relevant ads in front of their best customers.
Yeah, I think that I won an award a couple of years ago, the best 4 marketers under 40, and they interviewed me, and it was really an honor. And they said, what's the most important word in advertising and marketing? And I said, relevance. And that's what I think. If you were to look at the commonality in all these ads, they're very relevant to someone. They're not really built for everyone, right? Your house is too small. It relates to you. You want a big backyard. You feel like it's speaking to you. You go on Gretchen's website, you look at a bunch of properties. The ones that you see the next day in your news feed are just like the ones you're interested in. It's relevant to you. So relevancy is so critical. And really that's where advertising works best. So listen, if you are interested in working with Curaytor, this is your last chance to reach out. Click check availability on our website, or you can go to Curaytor.com/schedule. Put your information in. Our team will reach out. This is one of our great clients, Pat. When we started running her ads for her, in 1 week, she had 2 buyers and 2 listing appointments. That was just in the first week. So I think sometimes people think that this stuff takes forever, and certainly it gets better over time. It compounds and improves, but we're able to get results for a lot of people super quickly. So Curaytor.com/schedule. Thank you guys for tuning in. Make sure you head over to Instagram and say hello. Send us pictures of your notes. By the way, what other topics would you like to see us tackle? We've tackled the 21 fastest ways to get listings. If you have not seen that, I highly recommend checking that one out too. Curaytor.com/listings. But thank you guys for tuning in. Jimmy, good stuff. Have a great day, everybody. Thanks for watching. We appreciate your time.